beginner crafter. Welcome to another WIPTube. Today I'm showing the progress of the whole December. Sorry if you hear a sound. I have an oven preheating for cookies because when I go to New Year's Eve board game party with my friends, the tradition is that I bake chocolate chip cookies and I still need to bake them. So the oven is preheating and it might beep from time to time. So sorry about that. Yes, December was a good month. December usually is quite a good month because number one, I have Christmas break at school, so I don't work as much. I have a lot more free time. And also there is this push for finishing up goals. So I have quite a lot of finishes. And today I'm not really going to talk about achieving the goals as much because I will do that in the next video where I will wrap up the whole year 2025 and talk about my goals for 2026. And it's also going to be a bit more, I guess, visual because I'm going to show my face again, but today it's the traditional more style of WIPTubes. So let's start with those finishes. I finished my Wishbone Sweater and okay, and this is, I'm going to break sort of the rule of not talking about the goals too much because I will talk about it slightly. What I consider finish most of the time is the fact that it's no more knitting or cross stitching done. However, for sake of UFOs for the next year, this is not necessarily a finish because it still needs, for example, weaving in the ends. So those types of things for most of my goals is in finish a project. This counts as finished because I have the main stitching done, but it doesn't, it's not fully finished. Like I can't really wear it. I guess I could because those ends are usually quite short and mostly on the inside, but I would prefer to have it fully finished and block before I actually wear it. So this is what the sweater looks like. It's difficult to show it in full glory because it's pretty big. I am quite a big girl, so it's just a little bit big. But that's the top. It's with German short rows, and that's the body of it. It's a wishbone sweater designed by Kutowa Kika, so you can always get into her, for example, Ravelry account and buy the design if you like it. So yeah, that's the project. I am very happy I made it. I wish I had enough yarn to make it longer, but I still think that after blocking and after wearing it, because of the weight of it, it will still get longer. The sleeves might be already a bit too long. I mean, now they are in perfect size, but after blocking they might get slightly too long. That doesn't really matter to me that much because I like longish things, but if I had made them shorter, I would have more yarn to make the body slightly longer. So that's the only issue with the sweater. Another finish, kinda, is the Lotus rug. And again, it's a huge project, so it will be difficult to show it live on camera, but I will try to take photos and impose them on the view so that you can see from the top more clearly. So this is the Lotus rug by Schaapjes. I will find out who the actual designer was of this particular design. I will post it in the description box, and also I'll try to post it on the screen. And it's from the Schaapjes bookazine, the color edition. So I changed the yarn, I changed the color of the rug, and I think I will also change the use for it. And it's not going to be a rug because it is white, and with me and my dog, white is not the best color for rugs. Also in general, I'm not too much of a rug person, so it will probably be somewhat of a tablecloth, although it's quite dense and heavy. For a tablecloth, I think it will be a much better use for it. So there's that. But I really liked working on it. It was fun. So that's another finish. I also finished an owl by... Well, that will be a bit more difficult. To find out who the designer was, that's going to be more difficult because I lost the booklet where it was stated, but it's from a subscription box by Crochet Society. And unfortunately, the way things were done, probably they still are, but I don't have that subscription box anymore. The boxes did not have any type of information, which number they are, which month they are. The booklets might have had that information. They probably did. But I lost those booklets, so I have no idea where this booklet is, who the creator was, and it's super difficult to get into the videos. So unfortunately I can't really say who that was, but it is a nice amigurumi. I'm not too much of an amigurumi fan, but that was nice, I think. Then I finished my Sashiko, my second ever Sashiko project. So that's nice as well. I quite liked working on it. I just worked on it wrong. And I think I made it a bit more difficult for myself than I could have. I should have just used the lines and go straight or diagonally and have it done, but I decided to work like completing the stars, and it just made things a bit more difficult. But it is pretty, and I will want to work on it more. Then I finished the fairy. Oh, sorry. And this is, I think, the most appreciated thing. The most that made me happy. I don't remember when I started the fairy, but looking at the projects I have, it was probably about 2020, maybe 2021, because I don't think it was 2019. It could have been, but I'm not sure. I remember I started the fairy when I was in the Magical Stitches group. So that was some time ago. And I'm trying to look into my notebook, but the earliest data sort of I have are from 2021. And in 2021 I already have the fairy as a project I worked on. And I can see that for 2021 goals I had to stitch the hair and wings. So I must have started it 2020 at the latest. And it's 2025 right now, and the only thing I had to do was beading, and you can only see the beading from up close, really, especially those white transparent ones. I'm not too happy with the beading. My beading needle was very, very flexible, so it was not super nice to thread it. I was very unprepared when I was stitching the fairy, and not always did I leave free spaces for the beads so that they fit nicely. And also the yellow beads were larger, which made it much more difficult to have them in one straight line, like here. So they don't fit perfectly. However, I'm super happy I'm done with the fairy. So it's done. It's finally done. So I only have one more project that predates 2020. And that's a good thing. That all other projects are from this decade. And hopefully I'll be able to get it done soon, everything else. And then I finished Extraordinary Birds, which is great. I have cross-stitched everything. I still need to backstitch, although I did start backstitching. Where did I put the back stitches? In here, for example, or in here. So there's still quite a lot of work to be done, but this month I stitched, and I know I'm not being perfect with my stitch count, but I think for all the other projects, I don't really have a way to compare. Like now I can show you what the project looked like at the beginning of December, so you can see the comparison. But for the other projects, I either didn't take photos, or when it comes to the fairy, I'll just show you in the next video what it looked like at the beginning of the year, although it will be difficult to see the progress because those beads are not easy to spot. So with Extraordinary Birds, I stitched 4,385 stitches in December, and in quarter 4 8,807. So for this quarter, this was almost my most important piece. Yeah, second most important piece, and I stitched a lot on it because I wanted to finish it. So now I only have back stitching to stitch, so I'm close to, well, I consider it finished for my this year's goal, but it will be included in the 2026 UFO finishing goals. And one project that I also almost finished is the Pikachu. What needs to be done is just to make its face look nicer, because it was just done during Whipmas to just improve on it and go forward with it. I also need to try to get this to where it needs to be. So those are the finishes or almost finishes for the month. And now let's move on to other projects. And most of my other projects are cross-stitch projects, so let's start with those. The first, Miranda, which was my focus piece for the year. But this month, because I reached the goal, I did not stitch a lot on it. But I can still show you the photo from when I started this month. I only stitched 127 stitches this month, so just to do something on it. And in the whole quarter I stitched 1722 stitches, so also not a lot, but it was due to the fact that I knew that I was close to reaching my level 3 goal for the year, so I didn't want to work too much on it if I had other projects that needed some catching up. So I'm at 56.77% with Miranda, which is pretty good, I think. So yeah, that's pretty nice, although you can't really see much of a progress. I don't really remember where I stitched it, probably somewhere around here, this area there. Then 2025 Blackwork. I don't think I had started it before, although yes, I can see that I started it in the last few days of November, so I should have a photo from beginning of December. And I stitched 3 grids on it. I mean, I gridded a bit and I've completed 3 fillers, and that was what I needed to do for the year, so it's finished. I need to work on it a lot more in 2026, but I will talk about that later. So this is what it is. This is what it looks like. So that was also nice progress. Then Avarice, which is going to be my focus piece for the next year. Avarice got 313 stitches this month, and it was mostly tidying up the parked stitches because I reached 20%. I actually reached it in November. No, even in September, but I'm not sure if in November I was already tidying up. I guess I did, because there's a lot of those stitches that go really a lot down. As you can see, I still have a few threads that need to be tidied up, and I will take care of that in January. So yeah, you can see the progress, the change between the beginning of December and now, and it's mostly those white areas that got a lot of, maybe not confetti stitches, but they are very individual pieces without too many shapes on them, because yeah, I want to tidy up since I got to 20%, and every 20%, every 10% I think I will do that, just to keep the project clean of those parked stitches, because they tend to tangle, so it's better to do that from time to time, because I tend to work grid by grid, page by page, and I park stitches, and then I have like a full width of the project full of parked threads, and they tangle, so it's nice to do the tidying up from time to time. So there's the progress for Avarice, and hopefully next year it's going to be much more of a progress. Avarice wasn't really worked on in December, like I said, 313 stitches, because I did want to take a break from it before it becomes my focus piece. But in the whole quarter 4, this was my most important piece, because I'd got 9,151 stitches, so that's a lot. And I'm at 21.59%, so that's also pretty nice. So yeah, that was quite a lot of stitching done on Avarice, and I'm super happy with the progress. And now the other 7 Deadly Sins project that I'm working on, Envy. Here it is. And this is what Envy looked like at the beginning of December. And with Envy I stitched 822 stitches this month, at least according to my notes. But because it sounds a lot, and I don't remember working on it that much, but I do remember working on it, especially in the last few days. There were over 100 stitches made here and there, so it is totally possible. I'm at 5.39%, so still quite low. In the whole quarter 4, I stitched almost 2,500 stitches, so it was my third most important cross-stitching piece for this quarter, and I almost finished 2 pages, because more or less where a lot of those stitches are parked, this is where the page finishes. So quite nice progress with Envy. Although I was having some moments of I don't want to stitch on it, because this area is quite confetti heavy, so it wasn't fun. Then needlework, but not cross-stitching anymore, Sashiko. I started the last project from the set that I had bought from Amazon, and I only did a few stitches. You can't even see that. They are here. So yeah, I started the Sashiko project. This one I think will be the most difficult, because it is circles. So I do hope with what I learned before, I will be able to stitch those circles, and hopefully it's going to look quite nice. That's the goal, to make it look nice. So yeah, that's another start this year. And the last 2 projects. Oh no! No. The last 4 projects. They are mainly knitting projects. So the first one is the test knit for the Chiara Jacket, designed by Inge from IngesKnittingLab. And yeah, it's quite difficult to show you, because it's no longer really flat. So yeah, I think I stitched all that in December, because I think Yeah, I don't even have a date when I started the Chiara Jacket, but I think it started on the 7th of December, the the test knit. So that's what, 3 weeks of December. And actually at first I was doing my gauge swatches because I couldn't get the gauge right. Then I couldn't measure myself properly, so I couldn't choose the size great. And at first I started knitting L size. It turned out to be too small, so after talking to the designer I moved up to size XL, and I was stitching that. And then at the end of the knitting, before dividing into sleeves and the body, I made a mistake and I started knitting size XL, 2XL, which that was the only moment when XL and 2XL were actually different. So it wasn't that first I was knitting XL, then I started 2XL and it's not working together. It was working together. I just moved slightly to the larger size at the end. And I realized that when I was stitching the last round for size 2XL, and the thing is that size XL was 4 rounds shorter, and also didn't have it had different type of increases, and I was like, oh my god, I would have to frog 7 rounds, which I don't really know how to do with knitting, especially when it comes to increases. Like, how do I remember where the increase should have been? So that was really blowing my mind, how to do that. And then I thought, okay, maybe I'll measure it on me and check. So to actually check things properly, I actually had to knit a bit more, divide into sleeves, then cast on for the underarm, knit up to here. I did put a lifeline because I realized it is absolutely high time I made a lifeline, but it also was to then not have to measure myself and know when to stop knitting to check for bust stitches. Oh no! Oh no, 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 no. Yeah, I will have to reknit those few stitches, but I didn't lose too much. But somehow it got out of the block here. So anyway, then I'll just need to measure from this point to where I need to check whether I need bust diamonds, because Inga has designed a new type of bust darts, and they're actually bust diamonds. So I had to knit up to here and also a bit of the sleeve to check how things go, and it turned out my changing to 2XL was actually a gift of gods because the arm side would definitely be too tight. Like right now it feels slightly tight. However, this is, I think, the first project that I intentionally knit to go over other garments. So I was measuring over a garment, although I don't think I would wear such a garment underneath. It's too thick to go under a jacket. And I do think blocking and wearing it will slightly make the armhole larger. So I'm not really concerned about that now. But if I had been stitching size L, that would mean ripping, because it would be too tight. It would have been too tight when measuring. I would have to rip a lot more rounds after dividing into sleeves, and I have no idea how I would do that. So it was like a godsend mistake. So I'm stitching size 2XL. So now it's going to be a lot of just stockinette knitting. I think after I finish this bowl for the body, I will try to stitch also a bit more sleeve so that I don't have that big a bowl connected all the time. And I can also then measure slightly more about, like, when I put it on myself. I have slightly longer sleeve to check on things, but yeah, a lot of now just stockinette. So it's going to be maybe a bit boring. However, I do like the construction of the jacket, so I do hope everything will work fine. And I don't make any more knitting mistakes. Then the Forresten socks that I won from Inge and actually got sent them. So I made quite a lot of progress during Quipmas. I didn't really stitch on them after Knitmas because I was so focused on the test knit that I kind of gave up on a lot of my yearly goals, because I knew I wouldn't finish them anyway. I mean, when I saw a goal that I could reach, then why not? But I wouldn't be able to finish the whole sock in what it was, slightly over a week after Whipmas. So I kind of left those socks alone for the time being. But yeah, this is what I have when it comes to Forresten socks. And I like the design quite a lot. And I like the fact that there's a different bottom sole and a different design on the front. It's actually quite an interesting design piece, and I think this is how much I stitched in December. I'm going to take this out now so that maybe I remember to put it back at the beginning of January to show the progress from there on. I did lose my progress marker from the test knit. I had it, I don't know where it is now. So when I mean the whole thing is a progress from the beginning of the month, but I also wanted to see how much I managed to stitch after finishing Whipmas, but I just lost the progress marker. And my last knitting project is the Pohjola sweater. And with Pohjola sweater, I put the progress marker at the end of the Whipmas. So yeah, I can't show you the progress from December really. But I remember I stitched quite a lot of Pohjola sweater in December because it was it happened pretty often in my spinning wheel as the second biggest focus piece for the day. So I remember I did stitch quite a lot on it, and I liked the progress a lot. I liked the whole project a lot. I'm gonna need to buy one more cable for my Chia Goose because I now have two projects that I have for Chiago's. And I'm using all 3 cables that were in the set, but in none of the projects is the cable length enough for my circumference. So I need to buy at least 1 more cable so that I can actually put the project on me to check whether it fits, because this is a sweater that's knitted bottom up, so it should be at the hips, which mine are quite wide. And while I think this would fit, I'm not entirely sure, and I'm too scared to try it on. I don't want to deal with those temporary things and to like unstitch it from the needle. I would just prefer to unscrew the needle itself, screw on the cable, and it's just not moving such a big number of stitches. So I do need to buy the cables, longer cables for those needles, and then it will be much easier for me to work on different projects. So I still don't know if it fits me, but I so much love the design, and it's so much fun to actually have the time to look at it with a bigger distance, because when I stitch on it, when I knit it, it's very up close, and I mostly focus on the round that I'm stitching on, and I don't really see the pattern. And now I can appreciate the whole design, what it looks like, and how wonderful it is. So I'm loving this project so much, and I do hope to work on it more, but I didn't have the time this month. Like after finishing WIPmas, I didn't really stitch on it at all. I focused on the test knit, but I do hope in New Year, once I sort of am sure that I am within the timeline for the test knit, I can focus on other pieces as well. So that was nice to work on that. And now the last thing I worked on in December was the Mochila bag, which is huge. I did not work on it too much in December, and most of it I I crocheted at school, but it was, I think, 2 or 3 rounds. I don't think it was more than that. And I didn't have the time to work on it again after WIPmas too much. I did, I think, crochet 2 pattern repeats so that I moved to the next round. I'm on round 38 at the moment. So I moved that. But there's still quite a lot before I finish. Although the biggest part is behind me, so yeah, but it will be nice to stitch that and then to be able to bring my other projects, especially larger knits, with me in a bag like that. So I'm very happy that I'm stitching on it. I think I'll need to work on it more at the beginning of the year, so that I have it ready for moving my knits around, because the Pohjola sweater is getting bigger, the Chiara Jacket is getting bigger, and if I want to go to a friend and knit there, I need that time. So yeah, that's all I worked on in December. I don't think I worked on anything else in December. So yeah, that's it. I'll try to post this video the earliest possible, because then it's the whip parade and the goals for the next year and summing up the whole 2025. And I want to record that tomorrow at the beginning of January so that I start totally fresh and I can show you everything that I have without having stitched anything in January yet, so that it definitely shows what I did in just 2025. But yeah, that requires me to first work on this video a bit, and once I work on it a bit, I can post it and then move to Whip Parade, which I think should be posted around mid-January, so that there is some kind of regularity to my posting, so that YouTube algorithms are nice to me. If you've liked the video, please click the thumbs up, comment down below if you have anything to say, consider subscribing to the channel if you haven't already and you want to see the future videos, the progress of all the projects that I am working on now, will be working in the future. Thank you for watching and hopefully see you next time. Bye!